So I'm back again on cji3. I've run the report already. As you can see, this is the same Hawaii report, and I'm going to show you how to download it in a different way into Excel so you can manipulate it slightly different. Yeah, I'm just giving you options, I guess. So I showed you before this way. I showed you before how to do it with that button into a local file. Now I'm going to show you how to do it with this button, which is a spreadsheet button. Yeah, so you click on that. It's going to bring up a window. Filter criterion sorting is not going to be allowed. That's fine. You can just go OK. Then it brings up a table that says Excel submacros table or pivot table. You just click on table in the middle, click OK. Brings up this other window, you just click OK again, and it's going to bring up the report into Excel in a slightly different way as the one that I showed you before. Now this one you can manipulate because there are no gaps in between the rows, and you see what it does. So normally what I do is I click at the top there again, I turn all this into white, just my liking. I turn the top into bold. I put a filter at the top, data, filter, auto filter, and then now what I can do is I can actually start filtering by each one of these columns. Yeah. So for example, you can click on object name, and it shows you the different things that you, for example, have done work on this. So managing ed, managing Kado, language editing, design development, etc. So if you would like to know how much cost and, for example, how much time it was spent on a particular task, for example, briefing and commissioning plan US, yeah, you filter that data and you now have your quantities here, yeah, and you have your dollars here, yeah. So this is not too high. You can actually add a line at the top there if you want, and you can, on top of the column, you can actually do a subtotal, which I'm not sure if you know how to do the formula. You go equals subtotal, open brackets, the function is normally 9, comma, and then you select the range, and you can go, in this case you can go K2 because we're in column K up here. So you go K2 because it's just below the actual heading, or K3, sorry, in this case, semicolon, and you can go K3 to K5000 just to catch the entire list of things, close brackets, enter, and it just gives you a total of a subtotal of the information that is filtered in there. But you can actually do formulas however you want to do it. You can actually click in here if you want and do the formula in Excel. That's probably more Excel training. The other thing that you'll notice is that in here there are actually negative values, yeah, and that a lot of the times is what is called cost offsets. Finance has to actually offset everything and bring it back to zero. So what you need to do a lot of the time is actually exclude those negative costings, yeah. So you can go filter in the dollars, you can go custom, and you can say greater than, and you can click on the lowest negative number that exists in the list, yeah. In this case is minus $9.62, and you can go OK, and that means that it's going to give you all the total costings in here that are positive, yeah. So you can add that up. You can click on all that if you want, and you can either do it like a subtotal like I showed you before, or you can actually have a look down here at the bottom, and you can do a right click, sum or count or average or max, If I do a sum, it tells me in there that it's $207,000. Now this is more Excel training, but yeah, you guys can play with this. If you don't know, if you're not sure about these costings or these hours, you can always contact finance, obviously your financial person, which I think is Vi, and then she'll tell you, if this is right or wrong. At different points in time of the month, you'll find that there is some negative costs balancing out some of the costs, and sometimes not all of them, and some, so depending, if the project is well and truly finished, then you'll find that every bit of the cost in there has been offsetted already. If you're actually doing a report halfway through the project, you'll find that some costs are offsetted, some are not yet. So what else can you do in here? Well, like I said to you before, if you report for multiple projects, you could, in this case, I only did a report for P289, which was Hawaii and the Big Island. But you can actually do this for multiple projects, and then you can just filter a project in here. You could select and filter people, in here. I know there's by the number, but you can slowly learn the numbers, and you'll double click on, like I showed you before, you can go back to SAP and you can double click on it. Now the other interesting thing to do in here, the other important thing to do in here is that if you actually go and do anything else in the computer, you will lose this data. So make sure that as soon as you put it into Excel, you go save copy as, and you just go to the desktop and select, you know, Excel, and call it whatever you want, Hawaii report 1, and you save it straight away. Now that means that when you go back, see what it says in here, if you go back to SAP, it says save the data in the spreadsheet, because if you don't save it, you actually lose. If I do something in here now, and I go back to Excel, it disappeared. Yeah? But because I saved it, I can go and actually open it again with the savings. Okay.